we request the firewall and also somehow request the NSG rule be added. Okay, so the firewall, I mean operation group, add those rules. Additionally, they also active the EIP rules that broken sense, right? They block everything basically, right? All this. So
So what
that
did
get
they
the
do, Bhuvan?
impact.
They activate what? EIP rules.
Yeah, EIP have the NSG rules. They also added to it, right? That blocks stuff. Okay. This changes is not through the normal channel, right, to us. So we prove or we be aware or anybody, right, after the changes will be tested. Those rules not followed, okay? So that we don't know what's happening all of a sudden since not working, right? Every troubleshooting from AKS clusters, I'm worried about the ESTO, all of this stuff. We never thought about the NSG rules because nobody touched over there. We're not aware of any changes. Okay, so that's caused the almost 3 or 4 hours. They troubleshooting all this, right? Until very morning, those network group confirm, right, that have the issue, the NSG issue. Okay, so that's the stuff we have. This is the first track. The network group introduced this rules, right? Broken. That rule is not a part of original request, right?
What's
So
the result,
that's
Bhuvan?
original request from a customer, right? In this case, a clinical navigator, right? They make the NSG request, right? That is not a part of it. They add the EIP's default rule. Okay. So that's a broken sense. And from this lesson, we learn that we need to be take back. We want request of the firewall and NSG initiated by us, not by them, right? Because we're not trust the whole process anymore, right? Looks like we follow the changes, but other group may not follow the changes, right? So we are not aware of this, the changes. We're not prepared. We don't know anything about it, right? So we're gonna take this procedure back. So we're gonna be our groups, right? Will request firewall NSG because this have the wide impact, right? Especially we're gonna have the many important services. We don't want to get this any impact. Okay, so we're gonna be address this issue from our point of view, right? So that should be part of the onboarding process of this. All right, so that's about this issue. And so I want to emphasize here, since we get more and more services, it's a good sense for us, but responsibility come, right? So that we should be tight all of the processes, make sure that we get less and less issues, right? Otherwise, everybody gonna be pointing to, right? Can today how severe and the tenor can be witnessed, right? So many people, and 40 people on this session, right? Troubleshooting, big shots come, right? So it's not a good sense to have this. We need to do our best, right? Tight our process and have our support ready. Okay. All right. That's about it. Okay. And today I will talk about something else actually. Is let me share my screen. I want to. Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
My okay.
Yes.
First I will talk about the current works, right? Basically, I want to make sure all the categories there. Right? First one is certainly new request automations, right? And currently also manually renew certs and SPs. And the security team gonna do that. Now I just add one more step. Like firewall rule NSG requests should be as a part of a user onboarding, right? Security team going to be leading on this, but they can resign or whatever, right? To get consulted with info team or whatever, right? So that we needed to take can actually request. Basically, this is just a request, but you can consult with infrastructure team what's the IP address, all of those stuff, right? So we need to be rigorous on this, right? Because the firewall rule NSG have this destination and the source address, right? This we should have. We already have it, right, in the writing, but need to be coordinated on this, right? But the security we're gonna need on this items. Bill Graham, there. Bill Graham didn't join. Bill Graham.
Oh, they're not part of this. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so that's fine.
Yeah.
He knows this. So I'm going to talk about the two of them separately. But that's the one is that. And there's also second item is the Cloud 3 migration in terms of Apogee and the NetScaler security team also worry about it. I mean, should be take care of this. And Cloud 3 migration, CI/CD pipeline, GitLab integrations, automation team, right? Nikita and team, the folks right should worry about this, right? Of this. In terms of database, MongoDB, Databricks, and Tenrose team gonna be take care of this, right? Including that core TFE module from open source Terraform, right? So we already have the model of that, but we need to work on this. And of course, monitoring interact with SIE towers and will be our representative, right? So that if he need anything from Teams support, he can always engage the teams. But Anne should be our representative to talk to the SIE towers. Okay. And of course, the most important, the current production support, right? All the teams are going to be responsible for this, right? Especially service onboarding, like APIM, the Billgram, application gateway, keyboards, 10, the ASIC, right? ASIC going to be on the shore, right? 10 going to be offshore, so working together on this, right? Akamai basically they request, but ASIC should give them guidance if they require, right? Database team going to be help the tenant to look at it as well. Okay, this is production support. Okay, AKS cluster support of this, right? Tenant will be onshore. I mean the offshore. RC going to be onshore, right, for this site. Okay, resource admin process basically like a request storage account, all of this, right? So the Tenru and the team gonna be take care, right, of those. Some also already automated, some if you need them manually, right, of this, so we need manually do it. And the business intelligence portal and reports, train the back and thing gonna be responsible for this, right? So that they're gonna have those reports on there. Okay, this is just clarify why are doing this. Why we today we have this meeting? Because Nikita gonna be on the vacation, right? So we're gonna miss her for several weeks, right? So that we needed to make sure, all right, we can have this support clarify because we already very small team, right? Nikita on the vacation is even smaller, right? So that's the issue. Okay. All right. This is be done, right? So let's okay. I will talk about something else. Is this? And recently, we did a hackathon, the team, right? And this hackathon, they request only associates to do it, right? So not involve all of the contract, right? That's their policy. That's why we didn't engage you guys, right? So, but we did this project with, this NLP right from the back and the Kai, right? They support all this, right? So that we have this search enabled. Okay. Basically, this is what we demoed, right? Of course, this is not the original slide. Original slides is this. We're going to be only input of the here. We don't have a database, and we have only one jog APIs directly call from the UI of this, right? So we have this demo, right? The UI part, we actually didn't finish, right? We're still typing, right? Saying those, it's not truly voice, but we get the back, right? From a text to speech is okay. From a speech to text, that have some issues because the recording, right? How do you launch the voice, right? That didn't work out, okay? But the rest of it is working great. And TJ and I asked, right? TJ and us, we thought this is a good project. We're going to be utilize this portion as intent, processing behind the scene. We can involve multiple data sources, right? So we can provide these capabilities, right, for many applications, right? If they want to query our data sources, right, they can just input their natural languages, right? So we can classify this intent of what they needed to do, right? So then we can direct it to the different places, right? Either Solr search or database lookup or dynamic API the pooling, right? So we can do all of those things, but we need to have intent process at the very beginning so that we can engage of we can offer all these services like capability to the front end. Okay. So we have one in here or in writing. Basically we're going to be as TJ suggested, right? We're going to use Microsoft Team as a test bed, right? So input platform, you type in something, then we can call, I don't know how, right? We need to look at this. And then call the backend, the services like like this. Suppose this one is Microsoft Team, right? Call this interface here. I mean, this service here, and get the data back. Basically, just like from the team you talk, the machine automatically answer, right? To see whether or not we can achieve this. Currently, we have one test, right? If somebody type in the support channel, we automatically create the tickets to the ADO, right? So the tickets create the ADO that already be tested through the Microsoft the API services. Maybe we should look at whether or not we can, right, launch from Microsoft here. Microsoft team, right, input some text, then send it back to that intended process, right? So that they're going to be get the data and the process and resolve back, right? Basically, just like from the team, you can talk, machine going to be answer back, right? So that's the UI part of it. Okay, in terms of intent process, because remember this intent process is going to be interact with many concurrent users, because this member phase, right? The applications, we need to have first of all the performance robust, and they can scale up, right? Multiple, I mean hundreds of simultaneous people calling this intended process, right? So we're gonna have search management over there, Then we're gonna have classify input text, right? This is basically intent, right? So modeling to detect anything. I mean, the find out what exactly this text wanted to do, right? What's the true meaning of that, right? Then we're gonna have the routing, also the services, right? Once you receive the back from intent, right? What they are meaning, then you can launch the search collections or launch query API or lookup database, right? All of this stuff, right? Basically, that's the intent process, right? And this intent process also needed to authentication authorizations. We can use ESTL MTLS, right, for this, right? Because the two lag, right? You're going to be first go to the APIM, right? From there, you can launch this ESTL authentication, okay? And data ingestions is our older friends, right? NIFA or even bus of those things, and as well monitoring. Okay, so this one is kind of a TJ haven't get a chance to really work on this formal project, but we can begin use this as a spike, right, TJ?
Yes, go on. I think we should start it off. And
Yeah, you
we
use
can,
a spike, right? So that we can
yes.
create all this, so that what I clarify at the very beginning, current task worker stream and the plus of this. Okay. So any questions? Yeah, I mean, we can start at this because we break up the pieces, right? Like each team add a little bit more of this. I know Thanos team is very busy, right? Because you have currently a lot of stuff, right? So in here, I think you your team can worry about the data ingestion, right? If anything have the data like assessment data or some customer response data need to be put into the Solar, right? So you guys are gonna do that. But you have the reason I put less here because you have a lot of stuff here, right? Like there's resource creations and migration of those things, right? A lot of stuff here. Okay. So that's I want to be balanced because especially when Nikata are away, right, for this several weeks, right? So that Thanos team going to be play a very critical role, right, of this. I mean, not only Thanos team and Tan and the Tan fan, right, also engage of this, but the Tan will be leading person on this resources, AKS clusters, application gateway, APIM, all of this stuff, right? All right.
One for the Microsoft Team integration, so is that mean that you have to find way like write a plugin to so that everything user enter we know it and we uh, analyze the text that they enter to see what action or what they really want to do, right?
Yeah, basically here, basically this one is itself I think is API services, right? Because you want to allow other people calling you, right? And behind this API services, you're gonna worry about because there's gonna be many people going to be concurrent to use this API services, right? So you make sure this one is really scalable, everything, right? And that's why I put up here. Maybe it's the wrong word. Is a session manager because many people can log into, right? All of this. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you don't need this because each time they call the different. Because this is services, right? API services.
Yeah, but who will do the intent process like analyze the language and
Oh,
not that.
this one, once you receive here, this classify intact will be Yong's team.
Okay. Ah,
Yong's team are gonna do this, right? I already talked to Yong about this. We're gonna be primarily using LSMT because they know this already very well, right? Because we
mhm.
working with this before, right? So we're gonna use this and potentially look. The reason I'm not intended to use this one is somebody external, right?
Yeah.
We cannot just like own this piece you call service outside, especially right now they are not released in general. It's a free test you can in the waiting list or something, right? But um it's a lot of the dependencies. That's what I'm saying, right? Maybe it's good, but maybe we can look at the idea, right? But
Yeah.
this one also kind of the mature, right? You can do all this monitoring of those things, right? So that you can train the data. I ask you first use some synthetic data, right? Or from other people's data set, train the model. Then we can later on with our own data, right, to train the model, right?
So basically, your team will build a model, and event processing team will ingest the data and use that data to train the AI from your team, right? And event bus team will build an API service that so that it that can interact with Microsoft Teams,
Mhm.
and then call to the AI that your team has
Mhm.
both, and get an answer to the user. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, basically it's a routing. You can if let's say we have a flag, right? Which branch you go to search connections or even search connection, which connection you search, right? You need to get the direction right from this input, right? So that you have to search of this for different because we have multiple collection of the data, right? So which collection you're going to be search. And also there's another one you call it API, right? Maybe through the GraphQL, then you can have maybe at the very beginning we don't use the GraphQL, just hard code some API, right? Like a jog or those things. But eventually we're going to use GraphQL, right? So that you can aggregate from different APIs and multiple APIs, right? Information, mitigate it, aggregate together, then get the answer, right? Then also sometimes you have to look at the database, right? Query from the database. So that's behind this routing is all the services, right? You can see here output from here is clear. I mean, there's a simple text now, right? Because you know what's the intention, right? Use that and input here, so you can go to query all those return, right? Once return, this session manager, all those are going to be returned and serve the answer to the up layer, right?
Yeah, one, sorry, but not sure if I understand correctly. So for the routing, you list 3 items: search, collection, query API, and look up for the database.
Uh-huh.
Are these the thing that we want to support in answering the question from user? Like they can ask us to like look up the data in a specific table or the somewhere.
Yeah, basically they input the data, in turn gonna be detect what they wanted to do, right? What kind of information, and based on judgment, I guess the internal process also look the intent itself and also make some judgment, right? Saying that which one you're gonna go this,
Yeah, okay.
this or go this, right? Or all
Okay.
together, that depend on the situation. At the very beginning, I guess some simple, right? Go this separately, but eventually we're gonna be have those combined, right? So that you get the good user experiences, right? That's a little bit long
Yeah.
term, right? Then
Yeah.
they call the omni-channel experiences, right? Meaning the data come from many different data sources. You get the inside of it, right? Return to custom.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Right. So that's the intention over here. You can see here, basically, I didn't explain well. This one will be interactive process, right? This one is searchable loyalty base, right? Is this, right? And later on we can add more like a graph, right? Then I'm not talking about graph yet, right? So I have this. And this is data ingestion. Data ingestion, because this one don't need the data ingestion, only this, right? So the data ingestion of this, right? This could be different data sets, could be all medical plan files, and also assessment data, and it could be other stuff. I don't know, claim or those data if we can get it, right? So those sense are there.
Yeah.
Okay. Database, if sometimes they have relation database, I don't know which one, right? But if they have database like a demographic or something, right? They can look in the database or from the API, right? Those are information. If they want to, hey, what's my, plan, right? You can go to here or get it. If what's my, I don't know, demographic, you can go to here, right? What the drug prices of this, and and you can go to here, right?
Yeah.
So this basically is to reorganize our data so we can respond the user, right? In an intelligent way, right? All of the components like those things we already have. Normally we just offer them individual ones, right? Of this, but if we have this in here, we can just encapsulate them, right? They don't have to worry about all of those stuff. We can just give them data, right? That's somehow it's easier because if everybody uses individual components, first of all, it's not efficient, and maybe people even don't use it. They can go other places. We learned the lesson. We don't want to just offer the individual components. We want to offer some like a higher level, like the intended process or something, right? So that behind the scene we have our tools, right? Behind the scenes, then it's good for team, I think. Okay.
This looks very big, right? I mean,
Oh
how
no,
solution.
this can be long, can be quick, right? And depend on what
Yeah.
the scope. We're gonna start from some simple, right? It's gonna be gradually expanded on this. This one, we can have a very quick one. Actually, we already have one. We already demo, right? Those are the very simple ones, and then eventually we can have one more, right? Let's start from the simple. Okay.
Yeah.
But we need to do this one become urgent because you need a test, right? You're going to demo or introduce to other people. This one, no, this need to be working on this. Who is doing this, right? The Tanfan is your team gonna be doing this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who is doing that? Nikita, who is doing that team integration example? Do we have
So
code?
that one Joy did go on. So it's through Power Automate. There is no code. In Power Automate, we can create a flow and we can set up right if any message comes right, it can directly goes through the Teams channel.
Oh, the ADO and the team, right? Both on Microsoft, and they have an integration of
Yeah, and Power Automate is also Microsoft.
that. Maybe we can use that. I don't know how.
Yeah, let me figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, use a team have the API. You can call other side to get it back, right? You can send the data. Let's say you have the intended process, right? You have called the external API to send the data and the waiting since it come back, right?
Yeah.
You type it, you get your input, then send out to the intended process and receive sends back. That would be cool, right? You talk and you get sensor back right away, right? Like you talk to a machine. This time it's just a text, right? We're not involved the voice. Later on, we can involve the voice, right? Maybe other people can use the voice, right? Because this one involves the application itself, right? They can have a different flavor or different, way to interact with this, right? Could be mobile, could be anything, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that we can just use a quick way, use that team first.
Yeah.
I think the team is cool, right? Because many people use the team, right? And okay. Any other questions? Pan, how do you think? Pan? But the good thing, but if you look at it, those are already exist, right? I mean, this already exists. Even GraphQL exists, right? So we just needed to build this, right? Yeah, that's the. I mean, heavy work, but you can decompose of them, right? The components one by one, right? It's classify with this. You can have a very simple one at the very beginning, and later on you can expand it, and then have this. Even you can just direct the call, right? Even this one you can bypass, right? Just use the call. We have an NLP anyway, right? So you can direct a call without this at the very beginning, right? Too nice to have this. Even without this, still work because our step receive allow you to the natural language the query, right? But it's a good project, right? It's a good problem to have, guys.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
So, when do you expect us to start on this item from this spring?
Yeah. Oh, why not? TJ is okay, right? We start a spike, right?
Yeah, we can. I can put two spikes. One for Teams, explore Teams integration, and with the intent process. At least the first.
Basically, the two,
Yeah.
right? One is this, right? This one need to be looked at. This should be okay. Sounds like a very difficult one. The once you find the way, right? People already have a lot of example doing this. This should not that difficult, right? Just needed to explore because we didn't do this now, right? But I'm sure other people already done this, right? Look at all this. This is one task in immediately, right? Another one is this process, right? Once basically it's just like API services, right? So as envelope of this, and inside you can call first just a direct call search API, right? This one already have an example call, right? So you even don't have to routing, right? Just one by one. Later on, once we done this individually, then we can combine them, have the logical here. You can, based on input in the code, which one, right? So this can be face, right? This one I will work with Yung about this, right? To see how can we get this as quickly as possible. And this is just your management of the API process, right? If you decompose it, yeah, it should be doable, right? We can start from simple ones. And the difficult part we already done, right? Like this and the Solar itself. I'm back to here, right? Those components are already there, right? Those backend, right? Okay. TJ, you can talk about something.
I'm good, Gwan. I'll put these 2 spikes in for the sprint and we can kick it off.
Yeah. And in the meantime, we're doing the spike. Once we have some prototype end-to-end, right? Not end-to-end, just the depth first, right? Not the broad, right? The depth
Yep.
first, then we can expand later. Then we can begin to demo to get the product house input and the sanctions, right? So
Yep.
that become a good project.
We can build it as building blocks slowly, one by one.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I have to go. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi.
Bye.
Hey, trying to understand the statement around
Go on. You're not
Did
on